Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's best standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go. I see you. And let's dive into today's best standard. Hey everyone. My name is Sarah McCarthy and I am so excited that you are joining me as we break down the following standard. Today's standard is MA.5.GR.3.2 and it says to find the volume of a right rectangular prism with whole number side lengths using a visual model and a formula. In the past standard 5.GR.3.1, we were packing rectangular prisms with unit cubes, discovering, exploring what volume is and how you can find it. In this standard, we're connecting that to the formula, or should I say formulas, because we have this one, volume equals length times width times height. And also this one, the volume equals the base times the height, because the base is technically the length times the width. By the way, this document that I'm marking up all over is something that is provided by the Florida Department of Education. They release it to the public, and in these Breaking Down the B.E.S.T episodes, I'm just showing you how I break down the standard, and then we'll take the second half to showcase the resources that are strategically aligned to the standard in your taking on the B.E.S.T membership. So let's continue breaking down this standard. All right, the benchmark clarifications say that instruction includes finding the volume of right rectangular prisms by packing the figure with unit cubes, using a visual model, or applying the multiplication formula. And that's really where we're going with this, is applying that formula. It says that right rectangular prisms cannot exceed 2-digit edge lengths, and responses include the appropriate units in word form. Meaning that when we get to an answer, we will write out. Students will also need to know how to write out, like if the answer is 18 is the volume, it should be 18 cubic centimeters, and being able to write that out. What are the related benchmarks here? Well, the Department of Education is saying this one, MA.5.NSO.2.1, which is multiplying whole numbers by up to 3 digits. When we're finding volume, we are definitely multiplying, so this standard for sure is related. And I'm also going to go ahead and add that MA.5.GR.3.1 and 3.3 are definitely related. These are also involving volume. Okay, students will need to know what a rectangular prism is and identifying the side lengths, the length times the width times the height. Now, because of properties of multiplication, like the associative property of multiplication, it really doesn't matter what order you multiply them in. I love for students to be able to identify the length and the width and the height correctly, but technically when you're multiplying, as long as they're multiplying the 3 different edges, they should be good to go. What about vertical alignment? Where are they coming from? In 3rd grade, we had 3.GR.2.2, and this was finding area by using a formula. And just like in 3rd grade, first we used unit squares, then we stepped it up to using a volume. That's what we're doing here in 5th grade too. We use unit cubes, and now we're stepping it up to using some formulas. Then in 6th grade, we have MA.6.GR.2.3, which is finding volume with decimal or fractional side lengths. All right, so for the purpose and instructional strategies section, let's see what jumped out at me. It says that the purpose of this benchmark is for students to make connections between packing a right rectangular prism with unit cubes to determine its volume and developing and applying a multiplication formula to calculate it more efficiently. Again, we're going from packing and counting the cubes and connecting that to the formula. This right here says that instruction should begin by connecting the measurement of right rectangular prisms to the calculation of a rectangle's area. The area is the base, and the base is the length times the width, and the area is the length times the width. So if we're finding the area first, the base of the right rectangular prism, and then multiplying it by the height, or how many layers, we are finding the volume. Here it says, if students understand conceptually what the formulas mean, then they are more likely to use them effectively and efficiently, which is true, and that's why we had GR.3.1 to help us conceptually understand what was happening with the layers, with the first layer, and then adding the different layers in there. It says when students use a multiplication formula, it's important for them to see that it is a matter of choice of which dimensions of a rectangular prism are named the length, the width, and the height. Because of the commutative property of multiplication or the associative property of multiplication, the order does not matter, and the orientation does not matter either. We could take it and have it like this, and then just turn it and change the orientation of the figure, and now our dimensions, the length, the width, and the height have changed. So it really doesn't matter how we're labeling it, even though I do showcase whenever they mention the length, I'll have that going across like this, 4, and I'll have the 2 as the width and the 3 as the height. Some common misconceptions or errors. It says that students may confuse the difference between the B in the area formula, like the base or the length times the height, to the B in the volume formula, which is the length times width times height, where the base is the length and the width multiplied together times the height. And I just wrote a little note up here saying, have they even seen this? Because I know when I'm teaching 3rd grade area, we're doing the length times the width, and we've never referred to it with that lowercase b before. So maybe they've seen it before, and maybe that would have it be confusing. But I said right here that students are more likely to make computational errors, and this, yes, is where the common mistakes happen. Okay, and then you can take a look at some of these instructional tasks. This is a real world setting here, and then we have this instructional item, more of a mathematical situation. Here, just saying which of the following equations or which formula could be used. And then here, if we have 15 feet wide, 32 feet long, and measures 10 feet from floor to ceiling, which is the height, what is the volume? All right, I think that is good for going over the standard, for breaking it down here. Now let's go ahead and pop over to the website and see what you have access to with your Taking on the B.E.S.T membership. Okay, so here we are at the website. We're going McCarthyMathAcademy.com. We're going to click right here, members, enter here. Select Taking on the B.E.S.T. Which grade? 5th grade. Scroll down to the GR strand, geometric reasoning. And we're going to go right here to MA.5.GR.3.2, finding volume using formulas. The first page that you will come to will be your bronze resources. These are video lessons and student printables, so students can watch the video lessons and record their notes. The purpose of these videos is to make it fun and to make it click. In order for the information to stick, for students to practice until they master it, they have to practice. That means they need more practice than what is just in the videos. So we'll get to that in the silver plan in just a second, but for your bronze level of resources, we have finding volume using formulas with visuals. And you can see right here for number 1, we're connecting those unit cubes over to representing the edge lengths there. Connecting it, just in case they didn't make that connection in the last one, we're making it here. And then the second video lesson is finding volume using formulas without visuals provided. All right, so let's go ahead and click on the silver plan so we can see the video lessons and then the extra practice that go along, that correlate with what they're watching in the videos. Okay, so here we are at the silver plan. We're going to click here for our printables. Here we go. So we can see the first one is a video lesson. Break it down using notes, using the formulas, using volume equals length times width times height, and volume equals base times height. We're going to use the 2 different formulas. And then they'll have extra practice that looks just like what we did in the video lesson. Then the next video lesson, this time we have the finding volume using formulas without the visuals. So all the information is provided except there's not a visual to go along with it. Then extra practice for students here. After the 2 video lessons and 2 extra practice pages, there is a math mission available. This is a math task that goes along with the standard. This one says to use the cards below to create 3 2-digit numbers to represent the unit dimensions of a rectangular prism. So we're going to use these cards to create 3 2-digit numbers like 23, 45, and 67. So using the cards provided, what's the smallest volume that you can create? And what's the greatest volume that you can create? So they can see the relationship of how to increase the volume or decrease the volume. And then this one, Math Misconception Mystery, is another episode. You can find it right here. You just click play, and I will guide your students through the whole process. First, instructing them to solve this problem on their own or with a small group. It says, what's the volume of the right rectangular prism? So they have to find the volume here, and then they will continue to play the video and watch as 4 characters solve that same problem. 3 of those characters are going to make a mistake that students commonly make, and only 1 character has the correct reasoning, the correct answer. And these characters are just me dressed up in silly costumes having fun with it. After students watch the video, they will be able to fill out the deductive report stating who the most reasonable answer belongs to and evaluating the work of the other 3 characters right there. So that is your silver plan. You've got your answer keys right here. And if you have the gold plan, you have access to everything we've gone over, plus you have a mini assessment. The mini assessments are about 4 to 5 questions for each standard. This one I think has 4. And you can see it's a variety of question types here. Some of them have visuals, some do not. Okay. There's your answer key. You also have the nice added perk of having these breaking down the best videos right there with all of the resources. That way you can easily navigate the site. These breaking down the best videos for the gold members is ad free, where if you're finding them on YouTube, they do contain ads. So it's just a nice little bonus for being a gold member. The big highlight though of the reason why you have selected the gold plan is because you wanted access to McCarthy Math 155. This is a daily math intervention that's aligned to the Common Core standards. I know that it says Common Core, but if you've had some experience with both sets of standards, the Common Core and the B.E.S.T standards, you know that there are a lot of skills that do trickle over, that do correlate with each other. So if you have students who are struggling to find the volume using formulas, this is a great place to take them. The 155, it stands for 155 video lessons for each grade. We'll click 5th grade. And we'll scroll down to the volume unit right here, unit 10. Click on that one. There's 10 video lessons here. So you can see what is volume. Finding the volume. There's 2 lessons on finding the volume with 3 lengths provided. There's 1 video where the base is given. What if we're given the volume but there's a missing side length? And we have to divide. Okay, so lots of extra practice here with volume. So if you have students who are struggling and you have the gold plan, you have more resources to use. All right, I think that is it for going over the different resources that you have access to with your taking on the B.E.S.T membership. Before we go, let me remind you that what you choose to do with your life, it really does matter. Thank you so much for stepping into the leadership role that you have, for encouraging your students to take on the best version of themselves, and for inviting me into your educational space. I love, love, love being able to support you and your students and hopefully put time back into your pocket so you can enjoy your nights and weekends. That's why I love doing what I do. Speaking of time, I know that you're busy, so I will let you go so you can get back to knocking out all those tasks that you have. And I will see you in another Breaking Down the B.E.S.T episode really soon, okay? Until next time. Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm gonna ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now, bye.